I love seeing the friends in the audience because there is no question that friendships, they evolve as we age. In fact, research shows that we naturally shed about half of our friends every 7 years.
Yeah. Here to explain why some connections fade over time and how we can nurture the ones that matter most is registered psychotherapist Michelle Bilodeau. Welcome back to the show.
Michelle, it's so nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
And I think we all know that friendships are important, but what does the research say about how critical friendships are in our lives?
Yeah, so I think we're finally starting to understand how important friendships are. A recent study came out of Harvard that said, it was an 85-year study, that said that the biggest indicator of well-being is actually community. So that means friendships, not just our nuclear family, but coworkers, acquaintances, neighbors, that kind of thing. And then another study that I found interesting was out of Netherlands, and this one said that if a friendship lasts longer than 7 years, that tends to be a lifelong friendship. So really think about that and try and nurture those friendships.
All right, so that leads me to my next question is, why do certain friendships fade as we age?
Yeah, I think when we're in middle age, there's a human development theory called stagnation versus generativity. So this is the idea that sometimes we kind of stagnate when we're in midlife, so 35 to 60. We become a little bit rigid, and we're not as open to new things. We also become quite nostalgic, and we can have some regrets. The nostalgia can help friendships, but those regrets can maybe harbor some negative feelings. The opposite of that is generativity. When that's where we think about our legacy, we're a bit more open and wanting to learn new things. But that can also mean that some of our friendships that are more based on nostalgia tend to feel not as fulfilling. So we might lose friends in that way as well.
Are there certain friendships that dissolve just simply because they've run their course? And is that okay sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as we get older, we change, distance becomes a factor, life phases become a factor, political views become a factor. So our friendships, we should be growing and challenging ourselves in our friendships, just kind of like romantic relationships. It's very similar that way. But that also means that if friendships are fading, you can figure out ways to revive them as well.
Well, let's go there next. Let's say there is a relationship that's faded. Can you bring it back?
Yeah, I think you can. I think, as a therapist, I'm always gonna say, feel your feelings. It's okay to grieve friendships. I think we sometimes think that friendships don't pull or feel as much as, they don't have as much weight in our life as a familial relationship. But friendships are really important, so it's okay to have those feelings of grief, sadness, or confusion. One thing to also keep in mind is there's two people in a relationship, right? So you gotta look at what your role was in the dissolution of that friendship. So that might be a little bit, difficult, so that's why you would want to bring this kind of stuff to a therapist. Again, sometimes we don't think that friendships are as important as they really are, but talking about this with your therapist can be really helpful. And then also consider going to a therapist with your friend.
Do people do that?
Yes, I've heard of coworkers who go to therapists with their friend.
Wow.
Or just a friendship that's really tough. You can rely on a counselor because those conversations are gonna be hard, right? We know those conversations are gonna be difficult, so having someone there to mediate those conversations can be really, really helpful.
So a faded friendship is one thing, but how do you know when it's time to break up with a friend? Or at the very least, step back from a friendship?
Yeah, I think that's a very personal choice. It depends on everybody, but if you're starting to realize that you're begrudging hanging out with someone, or you get a physical reaction when someone texts you, that might be a sign that there's something off. So it's good to look at.
I think we're laughing because it's happened to all of us.
Yeah, we all know it.
Yeah,
We've all been there.
You see their name pop up on the phone, you're like, not today, not today.
Yeah. So try to understand why you're staying friends with that person. Is it loyalty? Is it length of friendship? Just because you've been friends with someone for a really long time doesn't mean that that relationship is a good one, right? It doesn't matter about length. So focus on quality of time. If you want to end the friendship is one thing, maybe you just want to take a bit of a step back. Maybe it's one solid hang a year versus seeing that person all the time and not completely cutting them out.
Okay, well, suppose you really just want to cut them out completely. How do you break up gracefully?
Yeah. Again, I'm a therapist, so I'm gonna say, always try to have conversations in person. So in person or over the phone. It's easier to listen to tone, maybe hear and see body language, that kind of thing. So yeah, text message and email can be taken out of context. And always try to focus on how you feel. So I feel hurt by X. Focusing on how you feel comes across as less combative and might actually help spawn some good conversation. The one caveat about the text message email, if the person you're talking to becomes very emotionally dysregulated, a short text is a great way to end things.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's say you've cleaned house and you realize, actually, I need some new friends now. And sometimes people find that can be harder when they get older. So what are some good ideas on how to make friends when you're older?
You gotta reach out. You gotta put in some effort. I got a text message from a friend yesterday, and basically it was just like, I haven't seen you in a while, just wanted to let you know I was thinking of you.
Yeah.
We didn't make plans to hang out, but that was really connecting for me, and that felt really nice. So don't worry about burdening people. People just wanna hear from you. So yeah, you're gonna have to put in some effort, ask some friends on some dates, and also try not to take things personally. If someone says they can't hang now, it doesn't mean they can't hang later. New hobbies and new interests, I think, are always great. I have a client who joined chess club recently and has met new friends of kind of all ages, and it's now one of their favorite things to do every week. Yeah, yeah.
Is there a number around how many friendships we should ideally have in our lives?
Yeah, so there's a theory that we can hold 150 relationships in our brain, which
150?
feels like a lot. It's a lot.
That's including work, right?
That's including coworkers,
Okay.
neighbors, friends, absolutely.
I was like,
But we can only really, the sweet spot for well-being is 3 to 6. 3 to 6 close friends.
Yeah.
That's kind of the sweet spot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Michelle, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing all this very important information about friendships,